Before Warren Buffett became a billionaire, he was just a kid delivering newspapers in the cold. No private jets, no luxury offices, no billion-dollar empire. Just a young boy obsessed with earning small amounts of money. And while most people looked for fast success, Buffett quietly built habits that would eventually change his entire life. Because long before he became rich, he learned something most people never understand. Great wealth usually starts very small. As a child, Warren Buffett was fascinated by money, not in a greedy way, but in a curious way. He wanted to understand how it worked. At an age when most children were thinking about toys and games, Buffett was already thinking about business. He sold chewing gum door to door. He sold Coca-Cola bottles. He delivered newspapers early in the morning before school. Small jobs, small profits. But those tiny experiences taught him something incredibly valuable. Money grows when you learn how to manage it. And perhaps even more importantly, he learned the value of time. While other kids wasted hours every day, Buffett was learning how to create value, $1 at a time. What made Buffett unusual was not intelligence alone. It was patience. Even as a teenager, he thought long-term. While most people wanted money to spend, Buffett wanted money to grow. That difference changed everything. At just 14 years old, Buffett used savings from delivering newspapers to buy farmland. Think about that for a moment. Most teenagers today struggle to save money for even a few months. But Buffett was already buying assets, already thinking like an investor, already understanding that wealth is built through ownership, not consumption. And that mindset gave him an enormous advantage later in life. Because while the world chased status, Buffett chased value. Quietly, patiently, without needing attention. But perhaps the most powerful lesson Buffett learned had nothing to do with money itself. It had everything to do with time. Most people underestimate how powerful time really is. They delay learning, delay investing, delay improving themselves. And without realizing it, they delay their entire future. But Buffett understood something incredibly rare at a very young age. Small actions repeated consistently over long periods can create extraordinary outcomes. That is the true power of compounding, not just with money, but with habits, knowledge, discipline. Every book Buffett read, every dollar he saved, every smart decision he made continued to grow quietly over time. And eventually, those small advantages became impossible to compete against. That is why Buffett's story matters so much, because it proves that success rarely arrives suddenly. It is usually built in silence, through years of consistency nobody notices. Today, many people want the appearance of wealth without the discipline required to build it. They spend money to impress strangers. They chase trends. They constantly compare themselves to others. But Buffett lived differently. Even after becoming extremely wealthy, he remained surprisingly simple. He still lived in the same house for decades. He avoided unnecessary luxury. And he focused on what truly mattered: long-term thinking. That mindset is rare because modern culture rewards impatience. Everything today is designed to distract you. Fast entertainment, fast shopping, fast dopamine. But real wealth often requires the opposite: focus, patience, emotional control, and the willingness to think differently from the crowd. That is why Buffett's story feels so powerful. Because deep down, most people know they are wasting too much time chasing things that don't truly matter. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding about Warren Buffett. People think he became rich because he loved money, but the truth is, he loved learning. Buffett never tried to become successful overnight. He simply improved himself continuously, day after day, year after year, decade after decade. That consistency changed everything. Because success is rarely built through dramatic moments. It is usually built through ordinary days used wisely. Reading while others waste time, learning while others complain, thinking long-term while others chase short-term pleasure. And eventually, those small, invisible choices create a completely different life. That is the real lesson behind Warren Buffett's journey. You do not need to start big. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need to be born rich. But you do need patience. You do need discipline. And you must be willing to think differently from most people around you. Because every great fortune, every great business, and every great life usually begins the same way. Small. Warren Buffett's story reminds us of something simple. The future is shaped by what you repeatedly do today. Not once, not occasionally, but consistently. And perhaps the most powerful part of his journey is that he started with almost nothing. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more timeless lessons about wealth, discipline, and success. And remember, small beginnings can create extraordinary futures.